I'd like to provide a brief overview of really how generative collective intelligence works. This is very, very different from what you are used to hearing in the news and experience because it presents AI as only something that learns from data. But what's far more important than data alone is the imagination that's in your fellow team members or other members of your organization. Humans think futures. Machines project from the past. We are about bringing this together into generative collective intelligence as a way to coordinate and co-create and see ahead together along with AI agents. It's a participatory practice for collective reasoning. And this is actually built on a number of years of working with various groups to design something that works well. But it's also based on a very solid foundation based in physics, the physics of magnetism. So we're going to now go and take a quick look of how this might work. Generative AI, as I mentioned, learns from data. When given a question, it gives a plausible answer. Quite often, those answers are good. Sometimes they're not. But you don't know whether it's true or not because generative AI doesn't have a sense of whether it's true or not. It has a sense of this is something that might match what you want to see. This is good for many situations. It's not always good if you're trying to decide solution to a problem that is new, unique, and different. Generative collective intelligence invites us to imagine together. It guides and learns at each step. You enter it, and there is no data. You are the intelligence, along with AI agents that can generate ideas, but they are not capable of having a sense of future in the way that we think about it as biological beings. So this guides building a model of our collective mind, and that mind is held private to you or your organization, to you. This is not going to influence or train or inform any external model. This is something that it's a unique model built for you for this situation in this context. Now, collective reasoning then is a guided process of navigating a generative field of beliefs, a field of beliefs that's generated by the participant, a field of beliefs that's generated by humans and AI in the same context, thinking deeply about the same problem, imagining possible outcomes together. It is only generative from this that where we are able to see ahead together. And so the generative AI, sort of the answer machine, can give an answer, but it has to be peer reviewed by people within the group. So here, synthesis is not consensus necessarily. It is a structure that emerges when disagreements happen. So you'll see that we can tolerate things not agreeing, but still be very powerful in an environment of continuous improvement. Let's take a specific example and think about the interaction with this just being like a structured chat, a structured conversation. No more than that. Very simple. You're giving a question. Do you believe that this housing policy, whatever it might be, affordable housing policy in our community, is going to lead to a solid community value future, whatever elements you put on that. And we don't have to put elements. We allow you to think from your own points of view. So there are four steps. You present your views, your estimate. You give all of your reasoning why. You then have an opportunity to peer review what others have said, and the system is constantly learning from that. It decides what to show you based on what has gone on before. It is constantly, continuously learning. And so we can now just give it a shot and see what it does. Well, you see these connections are peer-reviewed sharing of ideas, and you see serendipity happening. Someone saw someone else's idea, and voila, it gave them an idea. Now, this didn't result in the group making a decision. In fact, it ended up in an indecision state. That's okay because we have all the explanations of how they got to that state. So we can now get together and think about how do we resolve whatever problems we might have on surface together. Now let's go to another situation. There are certain conditions that are necessary. and that is diversity of perspective. If you have a group where everyone is sort of the same mind, all aligned, no one's speaking up, but they're solid in their opinion, you're going to have one set of outcomes. And if you have a group that's high, diverse, different perspectives, different levels of resistance to change, and the group on the right is able to come to a consensus about an outcome far faster than round Group A. Group A, it gets kind of locked in arguing, but they're not able to come to agreement. Why? Because they have a high resistance to changing their beliefs, changing their priors based on evidence. So, one of the things we now know is that we have to figure out a way to unlock that. And so, there can be these moments within generative collective intelligence called bridging moments. And these happen when a human or agent figures out a way to connect two disparate groups together. And so you can see this happening live. There's a sharing that links and brings two diverse groups in to alignment, to one mind, around a particular pathway forward, not general, but specific. So it can be specific resolutions to how can we team up together and move forward. This is a way, in fact, the only way that we know of orchestrating serendipity, orchestrating breakthrough ideas. So, what are the three conditions necessary? Well, they are there has to be real disagreement. You're not going to get anywhere if everybody's agreeing with the boss. It's not good for the boss, not good for the company, not good for the individual. Resistance to change must be uh, in respect to evidence, but one has to be able to uh, consider evidence. The third is there has to be a determination to find a breakthrough alternative. You want the outcome. You can't be passive participant. You have to say, I really care about the outcome for this to work. So, given that, we can now go and look at how this might work uh, overall. This is kind of an overview of the system. We can see this as the connective tissue between your AI stack and the collective judgment of your team, your people. This is a way to integrate and create an AI governance system for your organization. This is desperately needed, where there needs to be this layer above. We're all getting individual learning from prompt engineering. How do we collect it together into collective judgment? This is the answer. Generative collective intelligence is the answer to that. Now, I want to show you one more thing of kind of what this looks like. This is an actual replayed simulation of an event that did happen. This was a group the Foundation for the Study of Cycles is a group of people who like to look at how can we predict market futures based on what we know in general about cycles in nature, cycles in the market, these waves of shifting waves that happen that influence markets. And so this was first seeded by some AI agents and then participated in and I'm going to select this U.S. economic forecast. Their task was to forecast the economy throughout 2026. Now, this was done the summer of 2025. So there's a lot of uncertainty. So what you're going to see is replay data from that. So here's how it plays out. I'm going to run it at a little faster speed because uh, makes it easier for the size of the video here. So we have agents, and we notice what happens. The field of belief is being formed as people share ideas. Some ideas are orphaned, other ideas are adopted by the team and integrated, and the system is calculating probabilities of relevance as it's sharing these different ideas. And so it's rapidly bringing collective and diverse minds together into a stable outcome. Now we can now look at what is that stable outcome look. This all happened in real time. None of this is canned. it came out was saying, well, there's about a 67% chance that the market will continue to go up and to the right. And by the way, given that that was last summer in the June, it looks pretty good in terms of ground truth. But what's unique about this is a rank ordered list coming from the group of why that is true. This gives you the reasoning why. This is a full explanatory model. There's also a graphical form of it with the probability in the center, and then all of the things that led to influencing that model. But this isn't just a matter of looking at a report. You can also talk to it. This is a private language model, no data coming from the outside world other than what the agents offered. And that was quantized into specific bits identified when they generated and where. And so now what can I say? Should I invest? And, this is a question I put in before. Should I invest? This is now going to go out. It's analyzing all. And by the way, these vectors that are in this language model are very different from what you would see in a standard language model because they're annotated by what we learned as a group together. And now you get a nice overview of what could be some things to consider in making that decision. So imagine your team getting together to think about a future outcome. You come up with an answer, and then you're able to deliberate over what you've learned together. And this provides for a clarity that you can achieve nowhere else. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you very much for taking the time to listen.